Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Today I'm filming in the guest room. I am very excited because the desk that we ordered a little over a week ago just arrived, and it is this gorgeous, magnificent desk. I'm very excited to have it in this room. We still need to think about swapping out a chair and getting a rug for this room and maybe lighting, but I am very happy with the desk, and so this was an excuse to film in here. Because we don't have a rug though, it is a little bit echoey. I'm just now noticing that. This might be a terrible idea. Apologies if it is super echoey in here. We do plan to get a rug. Anyway, today I want to talk about money, but before I do, I should say for any kind of liability concerns, I am not a financial professional. This is not financial advice. I am a random person on the internet, and I don't think I could give you financial advice even if I wanted to, because I don't know any of your personal finance situations. However, I do know and can talk about my own personal finance situation and what I am doing with it. So first I'll give you a little bit of background on my own financial history and add some color to some more recent developments, and then I'll talk about some changes that I want to implement moving forward. I've talked about money a little bit on this channel in the past. I have a video on personal finance basics and a video on my own budget. I will link all these down below in case you haven't seen them if you want to check them out. As well as a video on net worth, or I was particularly kind of marking like me becoming net worth positive. Very briefly, we then purchased a home for a family member and that went away, but it was exciting for a while. If you've seen any of those videos, if you've seen me talk about money before, you will know that I am incredibly debt averse. My husband and I have paid off all of our bills except for our home, and even that we've paid off very aggressively for the last couple of years. Our habit was to take any money that was left over at the end of the month and dump it towards our house, but then I heard some advice somewhere, I think it might have been on a podcast, which was instead of taking that amount that we had left over at the end of the month and putting it towards our house every single month, instead create another account separate from our emergency fund and build up that fund to some particular goal, and then once we reach that goal, then we can decide where we want to apply it. Maybe we want to put it towards our house, or maybe there's some other investment opportunity that we can take advantage of now that we have that savings built up. So around that same time, an opportunity to help out a family member presented itself, and we were able to use that nest egg and put that towards a down payment for a house for this family member. So now we own that property. They pay us rent every month. We are charging fair market rent, but it's not really a situation where we expect to make a profit, but still it's been a good opportunity for everyone involved. But I mention all that because it took some mental effort to shift my mindset away from one of being very allergic to debt and wanting to pay it off as quickly as possible to seeing this opportunity and deliberately taking on new debt, taking on a new mortgage to help out this family member. Again, like, it's been great for all parties involved, but it did take a little bit of a mental shift and a shift in my attitude towards debt. Now, I haven't gone through some complete 180 and now I think debt is just suddenly okay. That hasn't happened, but it has caused me to kind of re-examine my own attitudes about debt. One of them being my desire to very quickly pay off my house, or making that my priority. I've known for a while, I've always known that dumping money towards our house, making that our priority, has not actually been the most advantageous thing that we can do with our money. The amount of money that we can expect to pay in interest on this house, our interest rate is low enough. We bought our house several years ago, we've never refinanced, but it's low enough that the amount of money that we can expect to pay in interest on this house is going to be outpaced if we were to instead invest that money in the market. The interest rate on our house is 4% and change, compared to about 7% if we were to invest that money in the broad market. So that's been kind of my thought trajectory that leads us to today. And I realize it's already April, but it still feels like the beginning of the year, and I was thinking about what I wanted my 2020 financial goals to be. And I've been thinking a lot of this concept called paying yourself first. Now, if you read anything about personal finance, one of the first concepts you will encounter is this one of paying yourself first, which effectively means, above all else, you need to save money before you think about any of the other things that you need your money to accomplish for you. And I've always defined savings, and still continue to define savings, as anything that has a positive impact on my net worth, be that paying off debt or putting money into a savings account. Now, I don't think that us aggressively paying off our house before was any kind of waste. That was the thing that excited me about saving, and I think because it was motivating, allowed us to continue to do it for a really long time. But I am coming around to the idea that there are probably better things that we can do with our money in the long term than dump it towards this debt because it makes me feel good. So with that, I have 3 new personal finance goals for 2020. It's April, we can't call them resolutions, they're goals. My first personal finance goal for 2020 is to increase my retirement savings contribution. Now, I know a lot of you are interested in saving for retirement. I haven't actually talked about retirement savings in any of my personal finance videos in the past. I have commented with some of you about it. I know some of you out there are big savers, but it is something I've always done, not aggressively. I've always saved at least up to the employer match, but other than that, it hasn't really been a priority for me. Paying off my house has been a priority for me. And so this year I resolved to, and have already, I can halfway check off this goal. I have increased my savings rate from 6 to 12%. And honestly, it hasn't been that painful or really noticeable. My plan is to increase it again later in the year to maybe 18 or 20%. I might do that a bit gradually, so we're not we don't go into shock or anything if my take-home pay changes pretty significantly. But especially if you are young, this is a little PSA moment from me to you. Please start saving. If I had a time machine, there are more important things that I could do, but constrained to the confines of this topic, if I had a time machine, I can go back and convince my younger self to start saving more aggressively earlier. That would be huge. When you're young, you have the power of compound interest on your side, which in a nutshell means that the money that you save at a young age has more time to grow. And so those savings years are incredibly valuable, and if you aren't already taking advantage of them, you really, really should be. You can thank me later. Anyway, I've gone from 6 to 12%, and I think I can increase it more. I'm trying to play catch up because I haven't saved as aggressively in those younger years. I didn't take advantage of it, so don't be like me and save sooner if you can. My second personal finance goal for 2020 is to open a taxable brokerage account. Now, we were just talking about retirement savings, and usually you put your retirement savings into some kind of vehicle like a 401k, a 403b, or an IRA, or any other tax code designation that account has been given. And those retirement accounts are tax advantaged, meaning there are particular advantages to putting your money there. The catch is you can't access that money until you reach retirement age. On the other hand, if you just want to do normal investing, access that money before retirement age, and not specifically be designating that money for retirement, you just open a normal taxable brokerage account with any broker. Now, I can already halfway check off this goal as well because I have technically opened a brokerage account. I've technically opened 2, but long story short, connecting my bank account to an investment account, apparently no matter which broker you go to, is an incredibly slow and arduous process, but I think we are finally past that. I should note these are coronavirus times, and I'm sure a lot of that data entry was probably outsourced and likely to a place where there are worse conditions than what's going on here, so that time is understandable, but it's 2020. You kind of expect, like Venmo, to be able to connect your accounts pretty seamlessly and it not take forever, but it's turning out to take forever, which is a little bit disappointing. But I think we can see light at the end of the tunnel, and we will soon have access to a funded brokerage account, and it's exciting because this is a new way to invest that we haven't been able to take advantage of before. I should note 2 quick things. Number 1, I think I said this earlier, but I know that there will be comments and or some people will have questions about it. This is in addition to our emergency savings account and saving for retirement. I think those 2 things are definitely a higher priority than any kind of taxable brokerage account or any kind of other savings. And number 2, this is not, we are not investing money that we are going to need soon. Whenever you put money into the market, it should always be with a long time horizon. For me, that's something like 5 or 10 years. I don't have specific things that I've designated this money for. There's so much on my bucket list, so much that I want to do. So I'm excited that this savings will give us a way to achieve some of those other goals. But right now we are just trying to familiarize ourselves with a new way of investing that can give us a little bit more flexibility before 59 and a half. My final goal for 2020 is to commit to regular savings outside of my retirement account. So now that I have that brokerage account, I need a plan for continuing to fund it. Now, we don't have a firm plan in place. This is the last goal, and the goal that we haven't completely shored up or figured out how we're going to address it. At the very least, we could continue to take any leftover money at the end of the month like we've been doing for a while now and contribute that towards savings or contribute that towards our taxable brokerage account, or continue to save that up into a bucket until it reaches some amount and then apply it. Although there are some advantages, I think, to dollar cost averaging in. So we might decide to do something similar to our 401k setups and just have regular amounts withdrawn from our paycheck that go into that brokerage account. There's also, I think this is really cool, I've only seen one credit card on the market that does this. If you guys have heard of others, please let me know. But I think Fidelity has a credit card that gives you 2% cash back on purchases applied to any of your Fidelity accounts. So that would be, or could be, an interesting way to save. Right now I have one credit card. It is my old Amazon card, which is the first credit card I ever got. I got it at the time because I didn't really have any credit, and at the time it seemed like a good idea. But now I think that maybe getting a credit card that better aligns to my goals. I don't really shop on Amazon. What I use it for now is buying cat food. I actually didn't have to pay for cat food for like the last half of 2019 because I just used all of my Amazon points on it. And so that paid for somebody's supplies for a good long time. That was actually a really good use of the card. But since I don't shop a lot now, I think that maybe the Fidelity card is interesting. But anyway, that is one way of continuing to make regular contributions towards a different savings vehicle outside of retirement. We might explore that. There are other options that we can explore, but that is the final thing that we get to nail down for 2020, is deciding and creating a strategy around how we're going to continue to save effectively throughout the year. All right, those are my personal finance goals for 2020, and somebody, oh, all right, you wanna say hi? Somebody just woke up and is going to be demanding dinner as soon as she has a little bit more energy, but right now she's a rag doll. Oh, can you go on the desk? Please don't hurt it. Okay. Anyway, those are my personal finance goals for 2020 and kind of the landscape of our personal finance situation right now. I hope sharing a little bit of the details about where we're at and how we got here can kind of add some color and explain a little bit about why we're making the choices that we're making right now. But I hope you're all faring well with the quarantine situation. Last time I talked to you guys, the weather here was beautiful, and now it is completely dreary and rainy and not fun at all, and I'm missing our afternoon walks that I have become accustomed to. So hopefully the weather will get better soon, and then we can at least stay sane by having a little bit of outdoor time. I hope you're all staying in touch with family and friends and finding ways to cope with the present situation. But I've got some baby who needs food, so as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Did you just wake up? Do you need dinner? And you're just gonna sit here for hours and I can't move? All of the above.